Welcome to ERi-TV English News Broadcast, dear viewers. Reporting live from the headquarters in Asmara is me, Bersabe Tegle, and these are the major headlines for today. President Isaias met and held talks with Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman. Governor's tour of inspection in the northern Red Sea region. Ugandan and South African leaders urge greater trade in Africa. And Denmark scraps public holiday to boost defense budget. On your local reports, President Isaias Afwerki held extensive discussions today in Riyadh with Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman and other senior Saudi officials. At the meeting held today, March 1, the two sides have agreed on broad modalities of partnership for enhancement of current and future interests of both countries. The Saudi Minister of Defense, Emir Khalid bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Emir Faisal bin Farhan, National Security Advisor, Dr. Musad bin Mohammed Al-Aiban, Minister of Finance, Mohammed bin Abdullah Al-Jiddan, as well as the Saudi Ambassador to Eritrea, Sa'ir bin Suleiman Al-Qureshi, attended the meeting that also discussed regional and international issues of mutual importance. President Isaias Afwerki departed to Saudi Arabia yesterday for a two-day official visit at an invitation of the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ms. Asmeret Abraha, Governor of the Northern Red Sea region, called for a quick completion of the potable water projects being constructed in Massawa and Galalo subzones. Ms. Asmeret made the call during a tour of inspection she conducted in Massawa and Galalo subzones from 25 to 27 February, observing the renovation of water pipelines as well as the construction of the solar-powered potable water project in the subzones. During a meeting she conducted with heads of concerned institutions and village coordinators, the governor discussed on the progress of the projects as well as potable water distribution system in the subzones. During her visit to Bada Administrative Area Health Station, Ms. Asmeret called for the area and subzone administrators as well as concerned bodies to support and extend the necessary equipment and infrastructural materials for a better healthcare provision. In related news, the Governor of the Northern Red Sea region, Ms. Asmeret Abraha, participated at the cultural and artistic performances by Nisri Cultural Troupe, organized to members of the Eritrean Defense Forces as well as residents of Bada Administrative Area. Meetings aimed at reinforcing the teaching and learning processes, increasing students' enrollment and capacity, as well as finding ways towards tackling challenges were held in the central, southern and Gashbarka regions. At the meetings conducted in the subzones of Ginda, Foro, Galanefhi, Molki, Logo Ansaba, Adhwala, Maiaini, as well as southeast Asmara, activity reports were presented and in-depth discussion was conducted on various issues, including the capacity of students and their educational results, the progress of the efforts exerted to register quality education, as well as on the strengths and weaknesses encountered during the first semester of the current academic year. Commending the participation of the public in the alleviation of the challenges being encountered, the participants have called for reinforced effort in tackling student school dropouts, as well as on the declining female student school enrollment, particularly in the junior and secondary level education. Administrators, on their part, calling for strong cooperation among teachers, parents and students in strengthening the teaching and learning process, called on the students to concentrate on their educational pursuit. Finally, participants forwarded their recommendations, calling for extracurricular support to students who registered poor academic results, as well as for the strong participation of stakeholders, particularly the National Union of Eritrean Workers, in the efforts being exerted to boost educational excellence. On your last local report, the National Association of Eritrean War Disabled Veterans, branch in the United Kingdom and Ireland, conducted its first Congress on March 1. At the activity report, Ms. Juma Umar, acting chairwoman of the branch, presented, it was indicated that few concerned nationals started assisting the Eritrean War Disabled Veterans in June of 2020 and that the number of members to date has increased to over 700. She further stated that the branch association has so far collected over 90,000 British pounds from members and deposited the account number of the mother association. Speaking at the event, the Eritrean ambassador to the UK and Northern Ireland, Mr. Stefanos Habtamariam, commended members of the outgoing acting executive committee as well as concerned nationals and institutions for their relentless effort in the implementation of the activities of the branch. He further called for reinforced participation of all parties in the successful implementation of the activities of the branch, and participants on their part discussed on the reports presented and elected 4-member executive committee for a 2-year term. That was all with your domestic reports. Do stay with us for the international news after the short break. Welcome back. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has called for stronger trade relations among African countries and lamented the high cost of buying products and services outside the continent. Yesterday, Museveni began a state visit to South Africa in a bid to encourage better economic ties between Uganda and Africa's most developed economy. He met with President Ramaphosa, accompanied by members of his cabinet who were scheduled to meet with their South African counterparts and sign various trade and bilateral agreements. Making brief remarks ahead of the meeting with Ramaphosa, Museveni emphasized the importance of intracontinental trade, while highlighting some of the challenges that were making this difficult to achieve. Among some of his priorities were the procurement of coal from South Africa to be used to transform Uganda's high-trade iron ore into steel, Museveni said. Museveni also said it is important for the continent to be peaceful in order for intracontinental trade to be successful. Ramaphosa, on his part, said South Africa sees Uganda as an important partner in East Africa and lauded its contribution to regional economic and political integration as well as regional peace and stability. South Africa and Ugandan ministers signed bilateral and economic agreements in various sectors including tourism, transport and agriculture. On your final report, Denmark's parliament has voted to abolish a springtime public holiday to boost spending on the military. Lawmakers voted 95-68 to scrap Great Prayer Day, a religious holiday observed since the 17th century. The cancellation will provide an additional 3 billion kroner or $427 million to be used on the defense budget, the government says. But there has been opposition from the opposition politicians, trade unions and religious figures. At the start of the month, some 50,000 protesters gathered outside Parliament in Copenhagen to protest the plan. During a parliamentary debate on Tuesday, a member of the Socialist People's Party opposed the decision by saying that the government is ordering people to work one day more. However, there was not enough opposition in Parliament to call a referendum. Despite the opposition, Denmark's government coalition said the extra money was needed to raise the defense budget to NATO's target of 2% of GDP by 2030 instead of 2033 as previously planned. This change of plan was due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the government said. People in Denmark currently have up to 11 public holidays. You're watching us on ERi-TV, dear viewers, and now recap of the major headlines. President Isaias met and held talks with Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman. Governor's tour of inspection in the northern Red Sea region. Ugandan and South African leaders urge greater trade in Africa. Denmark scraps public holiday to boost defense budget. Dear viewers, that is it for today. Thanks for watching and enjoy the remaining of our programs.